Hey, what's going on everybody? Chris Chavez here at Fandrew.com. You're watching the Android Overload for Friday, March 8th. These are your top Android news stories. So we've all seen Google's concept video showing what Google Glass will be like in the future. Lots of augmented reality stuff, lots of reminders popping up, text messages and stuff like that. But now it's time to bring things back down to reality. Some fellows over at Duke University actually came up with a Google Glass application for the real world, and what it does is it actually is able to identify people that you come in contact with, not only with facial recognition stuff, but also by the way they dress, certain outfits that they wear, the colors of their clothes, and things like that. Now, if you're kind of wondering what good that would be actually in the real world, identifying people according to their clothes, the first probably obvious reason is when you take pictures of somebody, possibly it could automatically tag them when you post it to Facebook. But if you want to kind of get creative with it, you could use it possibly even for reminders. So say you meet somebody at a party, some cute chick or just some like pretty cool guy, use it to identify possibly their name. When you run into him again, it could just show like, oh, so-and-so, maybe like a little tiny bit of their profile information or something along those lines. The way I'd probably use it is possibly giving me reminders on who owes me money. So every time I run into, one of my friends or my brother, it'll say like, so-and-so owes you $5, and I think that could be kind of useful. We're no doubt going to see a whole lot more from Google Glass at this year's I/O in May, and I'm pretty excited to see what these Google Glass developers have come up with. So it looks like Google could be experimenting or toying with the idea of back touch controls on smartphones and tablets. A patent filing was just made public by the US PTO, and it shows a bunch of diagrams and things where I guess the user could interact with their phone using the back of a device instead of just the front. Now, I wouldn't say this is exactly totally new. If you have or you've seen the Sony PlayStation Vita, that device actually has back controls, and it kind of uses them in strange ways. Sony's method has a lot more to do with gaming than anything else. I can't really see how functional or useful that would be to use back gestures and stuff to control certain UI functions and stuff. I think it might be a little bit strange. Of course, this patent was only filed back in Q3 of 2012, and there's a good chance absolutely nothing comes out of this. Apple filed a similar patent back in 2006, and there's always a chance that this patent could just be rejected altogether. Still, it's pretty darn interesting, and it's just nice to see the Google guys always trying to think ahead. The folks over at Sam Mobile are reporting that the Galaxy S4 could use an entirely new AMOLED display, one that actually makes the phone 25% more battery efficient. Apparently this new AMOLED could be using something called green PHOLED, which stands for phosphorescence as opposed to fluorescence used in normal AMOLED. So while it doesn't really sound like much, if you combine 25% and possibly a better processor that uses less power, and maybe even a 25% increase in battery capacity, you can see where this starts adding up. I'm excited to see what Samsung has in store for the Galaxy S4. We're kind of at that point now where everything is just plateauing as far as specs go. Everything's gonna have a 1080p screen, everything's gonna be around 5 inches, everything's gonna have 2 GB of RAM. So now it's time for these manufacturers and OEMs to kind of try to think outside the box and think about other ways that they can improve hardware without just simply throwing more cores at it. There are some rumors floating around the internet that HTC could be facing some shortages when it comes to the HTC One. According to sources close to the Taiwanese manufacturer's supply chain, HTC is having trouble finding enough components, specifically with the ultra pixel camera. And because of this, it looks like HTC might not be able to produce as many ones as they had hoped. Of course, if you're living in a pretty major area or market, like say the US, the UK, or even Europe, we should be okay. The areas affected will probably just only be the smaller markets. And keep in mind that no matter what, this is all just rumor at this point. I've read countless comments where people are like, this is just the nail in the coffin for HTC, or that there's just always something wrong. And it's just, I don't know, it's silly because we hear this a lot. I, for one, fully expect to have an HTC One in my hands before the end of the month. It has absolutely everything I could possibly want in a smartphone, and when it comes to the Galaxy S4, I expect it to be a little bit more of the same with the Galaxy S3. Lots of weird TouchWiz features and eye tracking and all this fluff, but I feel like HTC is really listening to people or listening to users and just trying their best to come up with, you know, brand new ideas and innovate when it comes to smartphone hardware. I'm so hyped! Alright, so that's just gonna about wrap it up for the Android Overload. Don't forget, links to all the articles I talked about in this video can be found in the description area down below. Of course, don't forget to check out the Android Overload post over on Fandroid.com, where I link to a bunch of news articles and stories that didn't quite make it onto the front page of Fandroid. As always, give a little thumbs up if you feel so inclined, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. It's Friday night, and I think I'm going to head out to the movies and check out Oz, the Great and Powerful. I'll be letting everybody on Twitter know how I liked it. With Fandroid.com, I am Chris Chavez. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you Monday!